You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. We want to thank you all for coming to this time and place in your world, wherever you are on the earth plane at this time. And we want you to envision this. There are people in this group that are literally all around the planet. So this communication envelops the world. And we want you to understand that time and space mean nothing when it comes to your forgiveness practice. Your ability to transform the world is a real and actual thing. You do not realize how powerful you are. You do not realize that your frequency, the things you focus on, the things you talk about to you by yourself and with others, the focus of your energy with emotion is in fact very, very powerful. It is how the world is created. And this is why your mainstream media systems play with your emotions all the time. So we're going to talk about your emotions and feelings a little bit here. So when you have guidance, which is that I prefer to do this and I prefer not to do that, this is a very quiet and calm thing. You know it. If somebody asks you to dinner with them, and you know immediately whether or not you want to go. There's an internal yes or an internal no that doesn't require thinking. You know exactly whether or not you want to go to dinner with that person. What happens when you begin to deny that guidance or override that guidance, which is what you are taught to do in this society? Refer to your schooling system, refer to most parenting programs that you've been subjected to. When you begin to override that system, the energy of creation, which is what that would elicit, let's say you decided you would go to dinner because you wanted to, that has a certain energy to it. It has a certain frequency to it, which is alignment. If you don't want to go to dinner and you do go to dinner, you say for reasons of your own social conditioning, your partner wants you to go, whatever it is, you are in fact blocking your own creativity. You are being guided to say no, and you are saying yes. So this energy that is normally flowing, if you are congruent, if you're in alignment with yourself, that energy now gets stuck. It doesn't flow because you are not in alignment. It's not moving through you easily. There is a blockage. And the blockage is social programming or some kind of conditioning program that is making you choose against your free will. You're using your free will to choose it, but you really are going against what your soul's desire is. So over time, what happens with this kind of circumstance is that the energy builds up in your body. The energy builds up in your body because you're not congruent, you're not in alignment with yourself, you're not flowing the way you would like to, you're hitting what we call speed, you're building what we would call speed bumps, which you will hit later, potentially. And what that will do, what these speed bumps are, is blocked energy. And when you are inviting into you the awakening process, these speed bumps have to be dealt with in one way or another. Now, one of the ways that these speed bumps manifest is in disproportionate emotional reactions to things. So if you've been going to dinners that you don't want to go to, for example, or if you've been eating food that is not your preference, but you've been socially trained to do that, this energy is going to build up and it will burst forth in upset. It will come out in strong negative emotion at some point in the future. It could be that just one more time, you understand that phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. There is one straw that the camel's back cannot take. It can take 10,000 of them, but it cannot take 10,001. And you are all the same. You can counter your guidance 10,000 times, but there will be one time when you can't. And that is when all of that energy comes bursting forth. So we're telling you this so that you understand the difference between guidance, feelings, and emotion, because many people have strong negative emotions that are very loud and big because they have been out of alignment for a long time and they are blocked in a profound way. And the last straw came and then the emotion comes out. So this is very important, because when you have these strong negative emotions, people think that that is guidance. People think that that is their feelings. They are mistaken. The feelings and guidance are much more subtle. The blocked emotion that comes out in a burst of anger or rage is accumulation of not being in alignment with yourself. It is often masquerading as the person who's having the emotional outburst, accusing another person of being their problem. They're the ones that have not been letting them be themselves. They're the ones that are making them do things they don't want to do. But in actual fact, that's not true. The person who is building the speed bump is the one who is doing it to themselves. And that is a prime case of projection, where you are denying yourself and blaming it on somebody else because they don't like it, or they don't want you to do it, or they're threatened by what you feel you would like to do. So this is one of the biggest issues that humans in your society have, because you are so socially conditioned to do as you're told. You're so socially conditioned to behave yourself, to not say things, to agree when you don't agree, to not make waves, don't upset the apple cart. You have all of these phrases because you are trained into that process. The main reason that you do this is because you do not understand feelings and you don't know how to handle them. You are never ever taught what they are, and you are never ever taught what they feel like and why they feel so out of alignment sometimes. So you will notice this in small children, for example. They know exactly what they want to do and when they want to do it. If you walk past the candy counter at the grocery store, they will want a candy because that's their guidance. They want it. It's a desire. They may scream and yell if you don't give it to them, and you are deemed therefore to have the terrible twos, a naughty child. But what is actually happening, in fact, is that child is listening to their guidance and they have not yet been conditioned out of it. Now, we're not suggesting that you throw a tantrum every time you don't get that sweet thing that you want, but we want you to understand that some of you are going to be having big emotional outbursts as these frequencies that are continuing to bombard the planet continue to bombard the planet, because they are being released at this time. So you may see erratic emotional behavior in yourself and others. It's very, very important that you gaze upon this experience not with condemnation, but with compassion and understanding of what is actually going on. For many people in this society, you have been trained out of listening to your heart and your guidance. And as you train yourself into listening to your heart and your guidance, there has to be a clearing of all of this old stuff. And it may feel like grief, it may feel like rage, it may feel like anger. Do your very, very best to express it in a way that is not going to hurt anybody, yourself included. But give yourself permission to feel the feelings, because this is part of the ascension process. And this ascension process, which is getting rid of those speed bumps, those blocked energies that you have been repressing and controlling for so many years, this is part of your clarification process. And as you clear, as you become calmer, you will have less need for these emotional outbursts, but the energy needs to be moved. And that is something that we want to bring to your attention at this time. So when you are hearing things or experiencing things that are causing you to feel sadness, for example, there are some beings who are feeling deep grief at the losses that they are experiencing. And that is okay. It's okay to feel sad at some of the changes that you are having to deal with in this world. But we want you to be like an animal. When an animal has a confrontation or it has a scary experience, it will release that energy very, very quickly. Our dear one has observed this and understands this. If ducks get into a battle and they have a little tussle on the river, once it's over, they will rise up in the water and they will flap their wings. And what they are doing is they're getting rid of that negative energy, and that allows them to move freely into the next part of their day. So we want you to start doing that safely and kindly. If you are getting strong emotional reactions to what somebody else is saying or doing, don't attack them, but take yourself into a quiet, safe place where you can actually allow the feelings to surface, where you can listen to the message they have, because these blocked emotions will come with messages like, you Nobody will ever love me. I'm always going to be poor. These kinds of things. The emotion will hold an energy and it will speak to you when you let it out. So this is something that we wanted to bring to your attention as the light influences on your planet are getting very, very powerful at this time. Do not fear these clarifications that are happening, but allow them to move through you, and then you will become calmer afterwards. You all know how it feels after you've had a good cry. You feel kind of exhausted and you want to have a sleep, but you do feel better because you have in fact released the untruth from inside you. Now, the question is, are you going to continue to override your guidance? Once you've had some of these emotional releases, then it is time to really be on top of your game and say, okay, from now on, I am going to be as congruent as possible, because we don't want to build up more energies that have to be released and that cause some problems. So often in marriages, for example, there will be big fights that are building over months and months when one person is influencing the other in some way, and the person who's being influenced begins to feel as if they're losing their freedom, they're losing their choice. Nobody likes that. You are born to be free. You are freedom-seeking and freedom-loving beings. And then there might be a big explosion of emotion. And so this is what we want you to understand. Also, if you are living with somebody who has some emotional outbursts or some big fears rising to the surface, understand that they have to rise to the surface at this time because of the shift and change in frequency of their physical, mental, and emotional body that is being upgraded, upgraded, upgraded. And so these lower frequencies cannot reside in them any longer. That is our little intro message for today, and we will be here ready for your questions.